I'm really pleased to welcome Marta Macaglia here in our school in UDK in Berlin. Thanks a lot to come. I have to say what is very interesting, it is about sometimes one step you do in your life. And you finish the school at the university. She was studying in Roma, in University Sapienza. And when you finish, okay, you decide to go to Lima in Peru. One step to move, to change of continent. And here you arrive, and you don't know if you have to explain something or if you have to learn something still. And I think it's the way then where you are so brave, with your mind full of generosity, is enough to make wonderful architecture. So please show it to us.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation, for the invitation, Jean-Philippe. And thank you to everybody for being here. Sorry for my English, but I do the best to explain my work. But I think that my work explains itself alone. Yeah? So. Yeah. We are talking about the process as a learning space, and I present the work that we are developing in Peru. The no-profit association I founded is called Semillas, and we work on cooperation projects, research, educational workshops, and school construction. Up to now, we built 7 schools, 1 community center, 2 students' residencies, and benefited more than 2,000 children. We also have trained more than 40 building workers. All of this has been made possible thanks to the cooperation between more actors, local and international institutions, Ministry of Education, the municipality, sponsors, and the local communities. The main sponsor we have is the English-based NGO Costa Foundation, and since the last 3 years, more institutions have joined us, especially local institutions. And how has all of this happened? To answer that question, I'll explain how I arrived in Peru. And, well, I'm Italian. I study architecture in Rome. In 2010, I was practicing in Carlos Ferrater office in Barcelona. And in 2011, I applied to a civil service, a program of the Italian government that offered the opportunity for young Italians to participate in an international cooperation projects and peace missions. This is the reason I came from Barcelona to Lima, the informal Lima. Now, Lima is not only the informal city, as you look in this picture. I took this picture from my bathroom in Huaycan, in a human settlement in Lima. And I was discovering that there is also the formal city, as Barranco, Miraflores, and these districts. And I slowly discovered that there are many Limas. Lima is a great city that has grown exponentially from 1 to 10 million inhabitants in only 50 years. The city has been growing without planning, without architects. More than 70% of the city is informal, and only 30% of the city is formal, no? Is planning by architects. So the question is, how can architects can participate in this 70% of the city, you know? And I show this picture to understand the context. Does anyone know this wall? This wall, this image has been published in many newspapers around the world. We call it the wall of shame. It is a 12-kilometer wall that divides two districts of Lima. On the right hand, there are green areas and houses with swimming pools, and on the left hand there is no electricity and there is no current water. But I think the first wall we need to break is the wall in our mind, and it is possible only with equal access to education. Now I'm going to tell you how I was given the opportunity to work in the 70% of the city, in the formal city in Huaycan. I told you I came to Peru with the civil service, but I didn't explain why. I came to Huaycan, which is the part of the human settlements, to work on a cooperation project, supposedly managing and teaching in a kindergarten. Nothing related with architecture. But when I arrived, this is what I found: nothing. The kindergarten didn't exist. So Goretta, the leader of the organization that received me, told me, well, there is plenty of ground, there is the neighbors, you are an architect, so you can build the kindergarten here, no? Easy. And I had two options. I could either go back home or accept the challenge. I had never worked on a construction site before, and I never worked in an informal context as Huaycan. So I was really frightened. But after 5 months, here it is. We built all together with the neighbors, with the parents, a little kindergarten that today hosts more than 40 children. And this project changed my life, really, and convinced me of the importance of the cooperation in architectural field. Huaycan was my master, I think, the experience in Huaycan. And now, what do you know about Peru? Most people, when asked about Peru, are thinking about Machu Picchu, no? Or Lima, and nothing more. But actually, Peru is a very diverse country, no? Geographically, climatologically, culturally. Peru has 3 natural regions. The coastal desert is 10% of the territory. The Andean region, that is 29% of the territory, and the Amazonian jungle, it is 61% of the territory. And no one knows the jungle now, Peru. You think only the Andes. And you think that 30 million people live in the country, and 10 million inhabitants live in Lima. So only 2/3 live in the rest of the country. So the problem is centralism and the rurality, you know. And we are working in the central rainforest. And this area is a very rich natural environment with waterfall, wild nature, indigenous community, a multiple and varied reality. But it has been very much affected by terrorism since back there in the 80s. Today, this area is known as the main narco-trafficking area in Peru and in Latin America. So, however, how much this context influence the educational situation? The remote localization and difficult geography imply high cost in terms of inversions in infrastructure. And the social and historical situation are causes of the government neglect. In our area of study, 95% of the school lack current water and electricity, and 45% need complete renovation. And you think that only 7% of the population study up to the secondary level. So the actual situation in the rural community is schools are either self-built by the parents with precarious material and or constructed by the government, no? With exorbitant cost, and they are blocks of cement in the middle of the jungle. And can you see any differences between this school, that school, and that other school? Nothing, no? They have been constructed in completely different contexts. This is in the coast, in mountain, in the jungle. But there aren't any differences in the design results. They are a copy-paste architecture, you know? And the settings is the government colors. For example, the school takes the colors white, blue, and yellow of the regional government. And so the question is, where is the architecture? There is no architecture because it's completely out of context. Now I show you 6 projects, 5 developed with Semillas in the jungle, and 1 developed with the UCAL University in Lima. They are 6 different projects, but they have the same philosophy and similar process. And at the beginning, working in the jungle was not easy. People would not trust us. You think that kids, even strong reaction, they would throw stone and rubbish at me. And I tried to sympathize with the women but they were frightened by me. People didn't believe in the project. Native communities had suffered lies and promises by politicians. But when they started seeing projects and schools becoming reality, they slowly got more confident with us, as in this first project that I'm going to show you. This is Matsaronkari project in Nomatsigenga community in the central jungle. The Matsaronkari school has a very interesting story. In 2013, we visited the school and there were 30 students. And the teacher asked us for help to build a dining room for 30 students. We looked for funding and obtained $90,000, which is very short considering that in the same area, a dining room, a school canteen could cost $60,000. And just a bag of cement can cost 3 times more than its normal price due to the transportation cost. But we accept the challenge and we design a school canteen for 30 students. But after a year, in 2014, we come back to the community and the situation had changed. From 30 students, the school had grown up to 120. So the community not only needed a school canteen, but they needed more classrooms too. So the head of the community tells us, we have handwork, we have wood. Can you design a canteen and classroom for everybody, please? And we didn't know how to do, but we proposed a multifunctional space because we don't have a lot of money. And we propose a flexible space that could be used as canteen, classroom, auditorium, multifunctional space with a little kitchen. And how we did it? In a very simple way, with a system of mobile walls that became tables in this way. So we started the construction all together with the neighbors. Here we are. I'm here, Carlos. And in this image, you can see the walls. And in this image, you can see the tables and the space it used as a dining room. Then the space is transformed and it is used as a dance hall or as a classroom too. And generally, from our windows, you look from the inside to outside to look what happened outside, you know. But in this case, kids are looking what happened in the inside, because the space is similar to an interior plaza, interior public space. Well, this project, in this project we understood that thanks to the cooperative work, we could do more with less and with no loss of quality space and architectural quality, no? With local material and local handwork, we could make great project, no? Big project. This other project is Santa Elena Secondary School, and I'll present you our strategy of design and how the design responds to particular circumstances. We identify Santa Elena community thanks to the suggestion of the Ministry of Education, as it is located in a strategic point that connects 14 surrounding communities together. A perfect location to build a secondary school in a rural area, you know. And the building area was very narrow and long, and we could build on the western part of the area because for the soil condition. So we proposed to construct a compact longitudinal volume on the east side because of the program, and we need to build a second floor, which brings as this localization brings another issue. The classrooms were not correctly orientated, so we designed a wooden berceau to have indirect lighting. In the central part, a two-story covered patio divides the building in two sections: public and administrative on one side and classroom on the other side, and a big corridor through the entire school. Also, in this jungle area, there is no current water. So the roof works as a rainwater collector above the elevated tanks, which are located right above the toilets, and the water system functions through gravity. The corridor crosses the entire building, generating visual journeying of multiple contrasts between light and shadow. The spaces are visually connected horizontally and vertically, and the construction details are very simple, and this is the result. Now, Santa Elena Secondary School is not just a school, but also an important meeting point for the community, for the villagers and parents. The third project is Jerusalén de Miñaro Primary School, and we are talking about space for learning. And in this process of trying and understanding which are the best spaces to offer the students of the rural communities, a main question emerged. Will the children of rural areas in the jungle learn the same way as children in the cities? As I was living there, I came to understand that it was not the case at all. And I love this phrase by Spanish neuropsychologist José Agamo: the brain needs to get excited to learn. And it's so true. This goes for all ages. And can you imagine these kids in the jungle, as we show in the video? They grow up and play freely, and they are always connected with nature. How could kids feel excited in school surrounded by a wall? In Peru, school children are made to march when entering the classroom. And the classroom have high windows so children won't be distracted, in an educational method based on prohibition. And we think that spaces and architecture are fundamental to develop pedagogical activities searching for emotions. And to imagine it, to design it, and to construct it, the only way for us is through cooperation. So it is in cooperation that we started the Jerusalem de Miñaro project. In this image, here we are, myself, Italo, the head of the community, Idu, the director of the school, Martina, and Veronica, the right hand of the head, the right hand of Italo. And this is the ceremony of the first stone. It is a traditional ceremony in Peru to commemorate the first day of the construction. It consists in breaking a bottle of champagne, in this case a bottle of beer, but in this case it's Masato, a typical drink of the jungle. And it consists in breaking a bottle of champagne with hammer, and generally the community chooses a godfather to do this ask for a gift, you know. But in this case, we decided not to ask for a gift, but to put all together our hands. So that's how we started the project. In this first step, participatory rural appraisals, we get to know each other's potentiality and problems and dreams. In the second step, participatory design, we explore the imagination of the inhabitants, their needs, their actual activities in the school, and the activity they desire to have in the school. After these two stages, we try and reflect all these dreams and desire in the architectural design. Because what's architecture for? Architecture is for the people. And what we offer is a common sense design. Our references are the context and the kids' imagination. Materials all come from the surroundings. The comfort is achieved through local technologies, using natural light and crossed ventilation. Now comes the time for the participatory construction. We go with our master builder and we offer to the villagers to work on the construction site. So this is how they learn a little bit about ourselves and we learn about them. And in this way we promote the local microeconomy. Finally comes inauguration day, and again all together took the hammer to break a pumpkin in this case. And the inauguration isn't the end of the project, but it is only the beginning of its life. The community starts using the school, and we finally get to see the impact our work has in the people's life. In this community, the school is not only the public infrastructure. So for this reason, the multifunctional block is used as a community center and for community celebration, as a meeting place, as an exhibition space, or as a cafeteria, or as a library. Corridors and courtyard function as an extension of the interior spaces, and they are all meeting points. The structure system doesn't work only for structural reason, but at the same time function as a frame for the windows and for the bookcase. And the windows work as either windows or small roofs for solar protection. And always the interior and exterior spaces are connected. And today children have appropriated these spaces, creating an imaginary world where the walls are climbing tools and the wooden division hiding spaces. And whereas normally children wish to escape from school, here they stay on all the day long and they feel happy. I think that this atmosphere is very magic. And the fourth project is Parque Bamboo. This is a collaborative project with Insusitio and LAN, an Ecuadorian and Italian architectural offices. And we constructed this project in 5 days with students, but the process lasted 5 months. The purpose of this project was to promote local materials, such as bamboo, and offer a different, not traditional playground for kids. We started with a workshop with the children of the community, exploring the imagination and fantasy of the children, playing. In the second stage, learning, we organized a day of lecture about cultivation and use of bamboo, and finally, building.
Este tipo de procesos, más allá de la arquitectura, generan un montón de siembras, ¿no? Y esta transmisión de conocimientos se da en distintos niveles. El diseño, el proceso de construcción, todo tiene que partir de un entendimiento súper sólido de la comunidad y al mismo tiempo construirse con el aporte individual, es decir, participación de todos y un proceso de aprendizaje en común, comunitario. Nosotros aprendemos un montón de la comunidad, siempre agradecidos, la comunidad se queda con un poquito de nosotros.
The fifth project is a community center in Otiga, in another native community in the central jungle. And this is a particular history because our client is the community, not this NGO or is founded by the community. So the villagers in Otiga already had a community center built by the local government, completely made of cement. However, this center has been abandoned for years, and as it not meet the climatic and cultural needs of the area, and the people didn't feel represented by it, and they simply didn't use it. So the head of the community knew about our work and invited us to participate in the construction of their new community center. So this project, thanks to the participative design workshops, includes the community's own contribution and reflects the intersection between identity and architecture. Each architectural element shapes according to the local reasons. The space is an amphitheater able to be used for multiple purposes, and the space functions as a covered public plaza, and it is always connected with the surrounding. The large roof protects from the sun and rain, and the building is elevated to protect from flooding. And the local resources and ecological materials are used. The wood comes from Otiga forest, stones and sand are taken from the rivers, and the bricks are made by the neighboring communities. And here it is, a project completely inspired from its surroundings. It is used as a party ceremony, as a dining room, has a fashion show, has a disco club, and as a dance hall. It's a little comical with this music, no? Only made cumbia, no. Yeah. The last project is the House of Memory in Nueva Amanecer. After this different experience in the jungle, I was invited by Alborde, a young Ecuadorian architectural office, and started working with them in an interesting academic project at the UCAL University in Lima. So I come back to Lima. I was living in the jungle 5 years, and now I'm living in Lima. And in this workshop, the reality is the learning space, and the design is the result of a participatory process. So we apply the methodology in another context, in the surrounding area of Lima, no? in human settlements. The project is located in a very poor land in the middle of an industrial area near Lima, and the inhabitants were displaced from the Andes, where they had been strongly affected by the armed conflict of the 80s. And well, for my English, I'll show you a video presenting the process of the project.
Hay una transformación en los chicos y eso es lo que más nos interesa con el alumnado.
Todos los proyectos de arquitectura deberían ser participativos.
Por lo tanto, la manera de hacer la arquitectura, de entenderla, tiene también que transformarse.
Estamos desde un nuevo amanecer de la arquitectura.
Este es un proyecto colectivo. Los alumnos visitan el barrio, entienden qué está pasando hasta que al medio semestre vengan con una propuesta para ser construida que solucione los problemas que ellos detectaron.
Y lo que proponemos es un taller basado en 5 pilares.
El alumno en este taller no solamente se forma como arquitecto, como profesional, sino que también se forma como persona, se forma como humano. Nosotros salimos al campo y lo que vamos a encontrar ahí son distintas realidades.
Quizá lo que aprendemos es lo que sentimos en nuestra piel, en nuestro corazón. Lo aprendemos haciendo. Entonces, si tenemos que diseñar un detalle constructivo de un drywall o de un muro, pues lo hacemos en escala 1 a 1, directamente con la realidad. Vemos cómo se hace y lo que vemos es que los alumnos esto tiene muchísimo impacto. Entonces aprenden mucho más.
Y una de las grandes preguntas es, ¿y ahora cómo lo hacemos? ¿Cómo lo gestionamos? En el momento de no contar con un presupuesto, el alumno tenía que pensar en estrategias creativas en cómo podemos diseñar algo sin tener un presupuesto.
Así que los alumnos nos acercamos también a este factor de la vida real, la gestión, y también la forma de diseñar. Diseñamos espacios que puedan tener una sencillez constructiva, porque finalmente lo construimos con nuestras manos. Buscamos que los alumnos se sensibilicen a una nueva forma de hacer arquitectura. Entonces, si actualmente en la ciudad informal no han participado los arquitectos, lo que buscamos es que los alumnos se acerquen a esta realidad. Entonces, si la arquitectura es el arte de hacer edificios y finalmente la ciudad, lo que buscamos es que los arquitectos futuros sean agentes de cambio para nuestra sociedad.
Todo empieza con un proceso mutuo, ¿no? Un proceso dinámico. Eso quiere decir que nosotros hacíamos las cosas juntos, entre todos, ¿no? Tanto comunidad como alumnos.
Y a los alumnos lo que le decimos es que quizá la mejor nota no la tiene quien tiene la mejor respuesta, sino quien tiene la mejor pregunta. Y es así que nos acercamos a los vecinos con muchísimas preguntas, porque este conocimiento lo vamos construyendo juntos. En el proyecto de Nuevo Amanecer iniciamos a trabajar en el 2017 gracias a la ONG CESAL, que fue como un puente para nosotros para llegar a esta comunidad. Cuando una vecina nos dijo, hemos invadido nuestros propios terrenos, y nos damos cuenta que era distinto. ¿Por qué era distinto? Porque los vecinos de Nuevo Amanecer llegan aquí con indemnización del Estado. Todos son víctimas del terrorismo por parte del Estado. En el 2017 empezamos con la Universidad local a trabajar aquí, construyendo las bases para hacer un trabajo en conjunto y en cooperación. Y bueno, después de 2 años de trabajo ya nos damos cuenta que más instituciones se han sumado a este gran proyecto.
Consideramos que esto es ejemplar. La universidad tiene como su misión formar a profesionales, pero acercarlos a la realidad, educarlos para saber afrontar la realidad, creo que no lo tienen muchos, y en este caso ha sucedido que vemos a los chicos trabajando y trabajando para otros.
Los jóvenes han venido acá a vivir experiencia y aparte nos aprenden y nos apoyan, ¿no? a tener algo más.
Al final me di cuenta que el proyecto va más allá que el objeto construido, que eso lo hizo más vivo.
Apostamos a que los arquitectos que estamos formando hoy serán responsables de transformar la ciudad del futuro.
Well, In 2017, we found this space here, and we managed to transform it into two-story building here. It is a project in process, and the space has been activated by the community, and more activity are developed inside. So, what did we learn? Some reflection and some conclusion. In the first project, Mazzaronchiari multifunctional classroom, we understood we could more with less, thanks to the use of local materials and the force of cooperative work. In the second project, Santa Elena, we understood architecture must reflect the ethic and the spirit and the context of the site, and our strategy of design helped create the best school environment. In the third project, Jerusalem de Mignarro, we understood that sustainability of the project is guaranteed by the participatory process. We start all together and we finish the school together. In the fourth project, Otica, we learned that to do architecture in a remote area, we need to use local materials, and then architecture helps reinforcing the identity of the community involved. In the last project, an academic project, the participative process serves as a means of empowerment of the whole community. And of course, there is always some risk in making this type of project, you know. The risk of just having good intention. There is a substantial difference between a cooperation project and a charity project. In a cooperation project, we all work for a common objective, while in a charity project, someone gives, another receives. And we think that the only way to make to plant a seed is making architecture in cooperation. Thank you.